Trying to figure out where that sound is. Does someone on Zoom maybe have their sound? Trying to figure out trying to figure out. Can you still hear me if my sound on my computer is muted?
Yep.
Okay. My microphone's still on. Can you, someone give me a, Charlie, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me right now? Yeah, okay, maybe that's the issue. I wonder if maybe, here we go. This is why, because YouTube on my computer was on. All right, now let's try this again. I think we should be better off.
Yes.
All right, Shabbat Shalom and good morning. It is really beautiful to be with you. We are live today from my parents' house because we did not have security or maintenance. We wanted to make sure all of that crew and our tech crew had the day off this morning, so that they could be with their families on their holy day. So we thank you all for joining us virtually. We are glad to all be together, even in this way. Many of you have met my dad before, Rabbi Steve Mason, who has spent his retirement becoming folk guitar player extraordinaire. So he'll be our music this morning. And we wish Jackie just a beautiful Christmas morning. We miss her, but we know that she is doing what she needs to do today. And we are so happy for that. Sorry, we are.
Go to the microphone on the right, the little arrow.
Sorry, we are doing a technical thing. What would you like me to do?
Turn original sound on.
I don't know what that means.
Go to audio settings.
I think we need to just keep it how I think we just got to do what's here.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. All right. So let's begin with Hine Matov. Hine Matov u'manayim she'nerachim gon yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim she'nerachim gam 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 yachad. We are using the online flip book today from the CCAR. So if you are following along with us in the flip book, we are on page 74 for Matovu. If you need to find the flip book, you can just put into Google CCAR flip book. and click on the link for Shabbat, and it'll take you right to the text that we are using. Page 74, we find Matovu. Oh, Hallelujah, Oh, Hallelujah, Mishkanotecha, Yisrael. Let's continue with our blessings of every day. There are so many blessings today. Today we get a Shabbat that is not just a Shabbat for us, but it resembles almost in so many ways like Shabbat in Jerusalem when the whole world is shut down. And now granted, the rest of the world around us is not shut down for Shabbat, but we can imagine it. We can imagine that the stores are closed because it's Shabbat. Everyone's outside enjoying their dogs and going for hikes instead of sitting in front of the TV because it's Shabbat. We can take that Shabbat and make it a Shabbat for ourselves. We find our blessings for every day on the flip book, page 80. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'sech bivina lehavchin bein yom uvein laila, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim, who opens the eyes of the blind. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim, who frees the captive. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim, who lifts up the fallen. Page 82. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam roka haaretz al hamayim, who stretches the earth over the waters. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver, who strengthens our steps. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish harumim, who clothes the naked. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten le'ya'ef koach, who gives strength to the weary. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hama'avir sheina me'enai u'numa me'afapai, who removes sleep from the eyes and slumber from the eyelids. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asani b'tzelem Elohim, who has made me in the image of God. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asani bat chorin, who has made me free. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asani Yisrael, who has made me a Jew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael b'gvura, who girds Israel with strength. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael b'tifara, who crowns Israel with splendor. Let's continue on page 100 with Psalm 150. And if you have the opportunity to make some noise wherever you are at home, that's how we'll know that you're with us. We'll feel it. We'll feel the energy of your noise. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, Kedoshah. Hallelujah, Kehilah. Hallelujah, Bikurotah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, betake a shofar. Hallelujah, benevolent chidon. Hallelujah, betov umachor. Hallelujah, benim ve'uga. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, Betzion Tzlei Shama. Hallelujah, Betzion Tzlei Shua. Kol Shama, Tel Aleya. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Let's turn to page 106 for the Chatzi Kaddish. Yitgadal ve'yitgadash shemei Rabbav ve'alma divrachu tev yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uvyomechon uchayedechu beit Yisrael bagala uvizman kariv ve'imeru amen yehi shmei Rabba mevorach Le'olam u'olam me'omaya Yitbarach ve'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalal shemei dekudesha berichu leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata Da'amiran be'alma ve'imeru. Amen. We are continuing with the Baruch Hu. However, we are not going to stand physically because that's not the view you want today. So we invite you, if you're home and your camera is not on, to please stand if that feels right. If not, then to find a way to rise in your heart, to rise in spirit, to uplift yourself for these prayers where we would typically stand on our feet. Page 108. Let's turn to the next page for Yotzer Or and read together in the Hebrew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer Or uvorei choshech, oseh shalom uvorei et hakol, hameir la'aretz v'ladarim aleha barachamim, utuvo mechadesh v'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit. Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chochma asita, mal'a ha'aretz kinyanecha, Tibarach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach ma'aseh yadecha ve'al me'orei or she'asita yifarucha sela. Or chadash al Zion ta'ir v'nizkeh hulanu mehera le'oro baruch atah Adonai yotzer ha'me'orot. Next page together in the English. How deeply you have loved us, Adonai, our God, gracing us with surpassing compassion. Whoops, I accidentally turned the page. There we go. On account of our forebears whose trust led you to teach them the laws of life, be gracious to us, teaching us as well. O merciful one, have mercy on us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah. Enlighten our eyes with your Torah, focus our minds on your mitzvot, and unite our hearts in love and reverence for your name. Then we will never feel shame, never deserve rebuke, and never stumble. Having trusted in your great and awesome holiness, we shall celebrate your salvation with joy. Gather us in peace from the four corners of the earth and lead us upright to our land. For you, O God, work wonders. You chose us. Truly, you drew us near to your great name that we might acknowledge you, declaring you one in love. Praise be you, Adonai, who chooses your people Israel with love. Ma Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. If you are standing, you may be seated. As we turn to Haftarah on the next page, page 406 or 115. No, that's the wrong page. Page 116 or 406. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha, vedibarta bam, beshivtecha beveitecha, uvlechtecha baderech, ushochbecha ukumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, vehayu letotachot beinenecha. Uchtatam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim leloechem ani Adonai Eloechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Lehiot lachem Elohim, ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, emet. Let's turn to Micha Mocha. If you're in our CCAR paginated book, it's page 122 or 406.
Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha v'edar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot, oseh famei, Nora Kehilah Kedoshah, Leshimcha, Al Sifatayam, Yachad Kulam,
Adonai Yimloch Leolam Vaed. Mi chamocha va'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nehedar b'kodesh. We turn to the Amidah, to our tefillah, beginning on page 124 or 406. Oh, the 406 is not right. I think that's the last page. It's page 124 out of 406. Now I understand how this book is working. Adonai tzefatai tiftachu fi agitehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor V'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot, Umevi Gula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav LeHoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem. Look, it worked. Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim. Somech noflim verofech olim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, lishenei afar, michamocha ba'al gevurot, umidol melech, melech meimit umechayeh, Umatzliach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Page 130. Nikadesh et shimcha ba'olam, Keshem shemachdishim oto b'shmei Chagatu hayadim li'echa, V'kara zel le'olam. Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzebaot, Elok kol haaretz, Adir Adirenu Adonai, Adonenu Madir, Shimcha b'chol haaretz, Baruch Kevod Adonai, B'mkomo. Lechayu Eloheinu, Hu Avinu Malkeinu, Yoshienu Ve'hu Yashmienu, Ve'achama Le'enei kol zman. Ani Adonai Elohim, Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai
נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, לשבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו הקדוש.
Let's take a moment for our own silent prayers, for our own prayers of the heart. You can use the prayers of the book if you're following along with that, or you can use the prayers that come to you at this time and space, in whatever space that you are in.
Sing,
Sing, sing, shalom, sing, 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 shalom, sing, 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 shalom, Torah Veracha. Sing, 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 shalom, sing, 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 shalom, sing, 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 shalom, Torah Veracha. Ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la. Shalom, sing, 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 shalom, sing, 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 shalom, Torah Veracha. As we transition to the Torah Service, which you can find on page 244, we are, because for obvious reasons, we can't actually open the Ark and do all of the things that typically give us that feeling of being in the presence of Torah, but we're going to find our best way to do it. So first thing we're going to do is enter the sanctuary. There we go. Give us a little bit more of a sense of holiness. You're not looking at the Beatles posters in the background, but at least we have that sense of our own sacred space. As my dad, moves forward and back, he's going to appear and disappear. So just try to ignore that. And we are going to, so we will sing a Torah song to get us in the sense, but because we're not opening the Ark, we're not going to do a full Torah service liturgy. But I do have the text of the Torah itself to share when we get to that moment. We are reading today from Parshat Shmot. It is the first chapter of the book of Exodus. So just a little bit of, I'll save my tidbit of Torah for when we get there. Let's welcome the presence of Torah with song. Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam, Ha'olam Omer, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam, Ha'olam Omer, Al HaTorah, Ve'al HaAvodah, Ve'al Gemilut Chasadim, Al HaTorah, Ve'al HaAvodah, Ve'al Gemilut Chasadim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Al Shlosha Devarim, Ha'olam, Ha'olam Omer. So we've come to Parshat Shmot. If you're following along in the Plout Chumash, we are on page 346. In a moment, I'm going to invite Rabbi Charlie Levy to share our Aliyah. He is with us here on Zoom. Rabbi, if you'll go ahead and put your Hebrew name into the chat so we can call you to Torah. And while Rabbi Levy does that, just to note that last week we finished the book of Genesis. And this week we begin the book of Exodus. And in Torah study last week, we talked about, if we could choose kind of one enduring lesson of the book of Genesis, what would that lesson be? And we went back and forth on a lot of ideas, but one of the ideas that we came to is that the book of Genesis, the book of Bereshit, is the story of a people. It's the story, no, I take that back. It's the story. It's the story of Toldot, the story of generations. It's the story of how Abraham's life informed the life of Isaac, and how Isaac's life informed the life of Jacob and his brother, of course. And it's the story of how Jacob's life informed the life of all of his sons, and of course his daughter, who became the 12 tribes of Israel, and how Joseph's story informed the next generation. And then we lose a number of generations. It's many, many, many years later before we come to the book of Exodus. But when we come to Shemot, when we come to Exodus today, we meet Moses, and Moses meets God. And how does God introduce God's self to Moses? By saying, I am the God of the generations that came before you. So even though we've transitioned into this next book, this book that focuses on the story of the Israelites becoming a people, they don't become a people without that foundation that we got in the book of Bereshit, without being the descendants of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, that the generations exist in order to inform the peoplehood. That even though we maybe have characters who don't remember the specific who each one of these four were, they don't exist without that foundation. And it is the same for us as we look at our traditions, as we look at our rituals, at the way that we encounter the world around us. We do so with the information and the stories and the teachings of the people who came before us. And so when we turn to Torah today, we don't do so in isolation. We do so with the wisdom of generations. So with that, Rabbi Levy, if you will, let me get our Torah reading ready for everybody here today. It's going to just take a quick second. I got to open it up. And then I will call you to Torah once we've got that ready. There we go. Oops, it went away. Now it's back. How do I make it so that you don't see all my other? I don't know. But there it is. All right, and Rabbi Levy, I'm going to pin your screen so that we can see you as well. And I've got to bring, oh gosh, I've got too many things going on up here. What if, where did the chat go? There it goes. Okay. Ya'amod harav Asaf ben Reuven HaLevi.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach, Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Ve'ele shemot b'nei Yisrael haba'im Mitzrayma et Yaakov ishu ve'to ba'u Reuven, Shimon, Levi ve'Yehuda Yisachar, Zevulun uVinyamin Dan ve'Naftali, Gad ve'Asher Vayehi kol nefesh Yotzei Yerech Yaakov shiv'im nefesh Ve'Yosef haya b'Mitzrayim Vayamot Yosef u'vechol Echav bechol hador hahu uvenei Yisrael eru ve'yishretzu ve'yirbeu ve'ya'atzmu bim'od me'od ve'tim'aleh ha'aretz otam.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Natan Lanu Torat Emet V'chayei Olam Nata B'tochenu. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Yasher Koach.
Yasher Koach. Thank you, Rabbi Levi, for sharing your blessing with us today. With the sounds of Torah in our ears, we draw strength from its teaching as we think of those who are in need of healing. If you put the names of your loved ones into the chat on YouTube, or if you're with us here on Zoom, I can't actually because we're not 100% linked up on time. But know that we are thinking of your loved ones and all those who are in need of healing and wholeness at this time, knowing that it is both a hard time in the world and for so many of us personally. We offer this heartfelt wish for wholeness and healing. Mekor habracha le'imotenu, source of strength, who bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi shebe'ero imotenu, mekor habracha le'avotenu, with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Let's turn to the reading of the Haftarah. You can find the blessings for Haftarah on page 254. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza v'divreihem ha'ne'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah u'moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'b'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. Would you read the Haftarah for us? You can do it in the English. Is it?
Jacob shall come to take root, Israel shall blossom and bloom. They shall fill the earth with fruit like a meddler when it sends forth runners. Did God strike Israel down like others who were struck? Was Israel slain as the slayers? God contended with them, sending them off with a hot blast as on the day the east wind comes. See now, thus shall Jacob's sin be atoned, and this will be the result of removing its guilt when they grind all their altar stones into powdered limestone, when none of the sacred posts and incense altars are left standing. The fortified city is empty, its homes deserted, forsaken like a wilderness. Their calves graze and there lie down and consume the branches of the trees. When the ground withers, they crack. Women come and use them to kindle fire. Since this people has no understanding, their maker will show them no pity. Their creator will show them no mercy. But there will come a day when, from the river Euphrates to Egypt's Nile, God will beat out the peoples like a grain, and you will be picked up about one by one, O people of Israel. And on that day, a great shofar shall be sounded. Those lost in Assyria, those banished to Egypt shall come back and worship the Eternal on the holy mountain in Jerusalem.
Yashakoach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol haolamim, tzadik b'chol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer v'oseh, ha'medaber u'mkayim, shekol devarav emet v'tzedek, al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al ha'nevi'im, al yom ha'shabbat hazeh. Shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limenucha lechavod ultifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anafnu modim lach umevarechim otach yitbarach shimcha b'fi kol chai tamid leolam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. Would you play us a finishing with the Torah kind of song?
Al shlosha devarim,
Al shlosha devarim, Al shlosha devarim, ha'olam omer. Al shlosha devarim, Al shlosha devarim, Al shlosha devarim, ha'olam omer. Al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Let's turn to our concluding prayers. You can find Aleinu on page 282. And you can rise in the way that feels right to you. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'teit gedula le'otzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. At this time in our service, we think of those who are no longer with us. We remember those who have died in recent days. We remember those whose yard sites come at this time, those who died at this time in years past. The memories of all of them are with us as we offer words of Kaddish Yatom together, which you can find on page 294. If there's someone you're thinking of and you would like to put their name into the chat on YouTube or on Zoom, if you're here with us on Zoom, we invite you to do so at this time, and know that the memories of all of them are with us always. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'almad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, ve'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agalal v'zman kari v'yimru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'almei almaya. Yibarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yitalal shemei d'kedusha b'reichu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shalom rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all those who are in mourning, and comfort to all who are bereaved as we say together, amen. We end with a prayer for peace, peace for each one of us, peace for the world. We want to thank you for joining us. Oh, you can keep doing that. All right. Thank you for joining us virtually today. I know it's not our preference. We like to see each other in person, but I know that those who had the day off today did appreciate the ability to do so. And we are glad so many of you joined us on Zoom and on YouTube. And I want to thank my dad
My pleasure.
for being our musical maestro today. And I want to thank my mom, who's with Sela over there. Give me 1 second. Maybe she wants to join us. Hey, Sela, come join us.
Here she comes. Here she comes.
They've been making cookies.
Say shalom,
B'roma, Ya'aseh shalom, aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru, amen. Oseh shalom, b'roma, Ya'aseh shalom, aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru. You keep doing that. Oseh shalom, b'roma, Ya'aseh shalom, aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru, amen. Oseh shalom, b'roma, Ya'aseh shalom, aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru, amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Bye.
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom.